let's get started. If you guys can have your video on, that'll be great. Just makes the call a lot more interactive. I get to see all your beautiful faces, but if not, that's totally cool. My name is Sharad Mehta. I'm the owner and founder of REsimpli. I live up in Toronto, Canada, right outside of Toronto, Canada, in a suburb. And just a little bit background about myself. I have done over 750 deals. I bought my first property in August of 2010. I still own that property to this day. That was a 2-unit property. So I started out buying rental properties for myself. I got started reading the book Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Just the title was so attractive. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to be. So I started with that, kind of followed the process that they talk about in the book. But at the same time, I've been a huge fan of Dave Ramsey around that time, when I got out of college and I was, had a full-time job, I was like, I was used to be an accountant, so I was really into personal finance. I started reading a lot of personal finance books, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, and just, being from India, just the cultural thing, when I grew up, like there was no such thing as credit cards. When you had to buy something, you just bought everything with cash. So taking Millionaire Real Estate Investor process with the mindset of, hey, let's just buy things in cash as much as we can. And I just happened to be buying properties at the right time, was in the right place, buying properties in Northwest Indiana, right outside of Chicago. I used to live in Chicago for my job, so that's why I started investing in Northwest Indiana. I still invest in that market to this day, but it's been great. I mean, the properties were super inexpensive. The first property I bought, I think it was listed on the market, was 65,000. I think we closed for about somewhere between 20 and 25,000. Put 10,000 into it. I think I was all in for about 35,000, and we rented the 2 units for a total of 1,200 or 1,300. I'm like, this is awesome. I should do more of this. So I bought a few more properties, left my job, started doing this full time. Then I wholesaled a lot of properties to overseas investors based in Australia at that time, 2010 through 14, going through the global financial crisis. The Australian dollar was super strong against US dollar. So there were some good opportunities for overseas investors to buy. So I did that. And then I started doing some turnkey properties and fix and flip. And that's kind of what I primarily do now. I don't wholesale much, but we do a lot of direct to seller marketing, both inbound and outbound. But our exit is about 50% is turnkey and 50% is retail flip. But given where the market is right now, we're leaning definitely heavier towards turnkey. So when we're buying a property, if we're not able to sell it as a turnkey property, then we have to have a really good deal for us to buy if our only exit is going to be retail flip on that. So we're very strong on turnkey property side. I own a property management company. We manage about 165 to 175 units between my properties and other investors. So that's why we lean very heavily on the turnkey side of the business. Feel super comfortable renting out the property, going through the whole process. I've talked about in my previous calls also that we sell properties on roofstock.com. So if you guys are not familiar, it's a great exit strategy that you have. I think we pay about 2.5%. I think it's gone up to 2.5%, but totally worth it. They find the buyer. That's kind of what they do. It's a marketplace to sort of think of like an MLS, but for turnkey investors looking to buy properties. So that's been really good for us. And then on the REsimpli side, our goal is to create a software where you can close more deals and not have to use as many software as you would, like going into bunch of different subscription. I started REsimpli as a personal need. I moved to San Diego for my wife's job, and then I still had this very active business in Northwest Indiana. So that's what I kind of looked into, different software solution. And I like things very simple. So I wanted something where I could just log in and basically run my entire business. I didn't find anything. So I thought, what, maybe I'll create something for myself. So that's kind of how it started with, and then it's grown into what it is now. So super excited about kind of, all your guys' support and everything, you've done. So thank you so much for that. And any questions on that, I'm more than happy to answer kind of what I'm doing in my business. Before we get into the call today, I want to share a little bit update on my business. So in last week, we've gotten 3 properties under contract. And just before jumping on the call, I was looking at where the properties came from. Every single one of those came from Google AdWords PPC. One of them, let me check really quick. One of them, it's been in our pipeline for 26 days, so pretty quick. And we got it under contract on October 14th, so about 4 days ago. So from the time it became a lead, we got it under contract in about 3 weeks, roughly. The other one, we got it under contract October 5th, so about a couple of weeks ago, but it's been in our pipeline for 137 days. So that one initially lead came in, wasn't super interested. We put the lead on an automated follow-up sequence, just kind of followed up through text message, calling, and then the seller decided to sell the property. So we have one under contract for 70,200. The goal, all 3 of these properties that we have under contract, the goal would be to rehab them and sell them as a turnkey property as a primary exit. And then look at maybe if you're going to put it on the market, what we're doing now is we're putting it on the market as a short-term listing agreement. So like 30 to 45 days to see if we get some interest within 30 to 45 days. If not, then we take it off market and sell it as a turnkey property. So this way we're not tied into an agreement to keep our property on MLS for 6 months. So one property we bought for about 70,200. We have it under contract. And the goal would be we'll put about 20,000 into it and we'll rent it for about $1,200 to $1,300 a month and then sell it as a turnkey property. The other we have under contract is 50,000 and it needs about 30,000. And then again, it would be a turnkey property for us. And the third one is actually from another investor that's selling this property. And it came through Google PPC. We have it under contract for 69,000. And it needs about $20,000, $25,000 worth of work. So we'll be on in about roughly, 90 to 95,000, and we'll rent it for about $1,300 and sell it as a turnkey property for about 125 to 130,000. So again, all 3 of these properties came through PPC, every single one of them. And I'm looking at another one that we are making an offer. We've already made an offer on. It's been in our pipeline for 41 days, and it also came through PPC. And another one we made an offer on, it came through TV ads, and one that we have an appointment set for came from Need to Sell My House Fast. So based on just looking at my pipeline with what we have in the contract, what we've made offers on, and the appointments that we have, definitely Google AdWords is working really well. TV ads, and then also paper lead with Need to Sell My House Fast. So if you guys are not doing PPC or paper lead, I highly recommend testing it out. The great thing with doing PPC or Need to Sell My House Fast is that you don't have to you don't have to really commit to it for like 6 months. You can do some really quick testing. You can be in and out in a month or 2 and see if it's working or not. For example, for us in our market, I've talked about this previously also, we tested out paper lead with fast home offers. So we tested out with fast home offers and Need to Sell My House Fast. And we could clearly tell after spending about 10,000 on fast home offers that it was not going to work for us. There was no way we were going to make money. But we went and made that decision based on the numbers that we had rather than based on the gut feeling about a lead source, whether it's working or not. So for me, in my business, I use wholesalingppc.com for my PPC. You can reach out to them. I don't have any affiliate link. That's who we use. They've been really good for us. I wish we could get more leads from PPC, but we're in a very small market in Lake County, Indiana. So we're just kind of constrained by how much we can spend, without going into like unqualified leads. So the quality of leads that we get are really good, which is kind of what we like. But yeah, wholesalingppc.com is who we use for our Google AdWords. And another one is Need to Sell My House Fast, which is, paper lead. lead provider. I think we pay about 275 to 300. We just upped our budget from about 3,000 to 5,000 per month on Need to Sell My House Fast, just based on the quality of leads that we get and looking at the ROI. And for TV ads, I had Tony Javier on the call a couple of weeks ago. That's who we used. We just followed whatever his process was, and we closed on 2 properties. And I'm working with him to kind of restart our TV ads. The one that came into our pipeline, it's from a while ago. We stopped TV ads, just being in a small market. We're right outside of Chicago, practically a suburb of Chicago, but in Indiana. So for us to do radio or TV, we have to include Chicago in our territory. And I think Tony just came up with like a new program, just some way to kind of divide the territories, and then you can just really target the small market that you're in. So I'm excited about kind of just being able to target Northwest Indiana and not do anything in Chicago or any other counties that we have. So,
can I say something? Yeah, can I say something? I know what Tony does. He does the best way to do those kind of ads is to go to your local CBS, NBC affiliate station, and you do bunny ear ads. That means you do ads that are not on cable that people could pick up with one of those antennas, because then you get the people that can't afford cable, and it'll be a lot cheaper for you. It'll cost you like $1,000 to $2,000 a month instead of $5,000 to $10,000 a month. So you might want to look at that.
But do you think there's going to be decent reach with those?
Yeah, that's exact same reach. That's what Tony does.
Got it. I think what we've done in the past is we actually partnered up with an investor in Chicago. And what we did was we said, hey, you guys run the ad. And they had an IVR system set up where if somebody called in, they would hear an IVR saying, hey, if you want to sell a property in Chicago, press 1. If you have a property to sell in Northwest Indiana, press 2. And once somebody pressed 2, then the calls would get forwarded to us, and we would have call porter answer those calls. But yeah, I'll reach out. But then at that point, I'll have to negotiate with the TV stations.
Yeah, you can negotiate directly with the TV stations, and don't do Cox Cable or any of those cable providers. You only want a bunny antenna. I'm sitting in a cafe in Miami. Let me go outside a bit because it's kind of loud here. And you could get ads on TV for like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Tony's going to charge you like 6 to 10 to 15,000. And you can go directly to the TV channel.
No, that's definitely good to know. Yeah, we'll test it out. But I mean,
Sell My House Fast. Is that motivated leads? It's called motivated leads.
Motivated seller leads. Sell My House Fast. Yeah, it's motivated seller leads. It's called Need to Sell My House Fast. I think if you just Google them, Need to Sell My House Fast, and then you can reach out to them. I think their email is info@needtosellmyhousefast, and you can say, hey, I'm interested in
needtosellmyhousefast.com.
Yeah, let me put it in the fast.
And what was the other pay-per-click company you said?
The other one was Fast Home Offers. It didn't work for us, but there are other people that have gotten good results from it, but just did not work with us. We spent about, I'm putting in the chat, Need to Sell My House Fast. So we pay about $275 to $300 per lead to Need to Sell My House Fast. It was about the same with Fast Home Offers, but I believe, the leads that are coming from PPC, from Google, those tend to be more motivated because those are people going to Google with an intention to sell their property. So somebody who's searching, hey, how do I sell my house fast? Those are people looking, are closer to the selling process. And I think what Fast Home Offers was doing, or it still does, is they still send you those leads of people that want to sell their properties going to Google, but I think they also get their leads from Facebook retargeting, targeting people on Facebook or other social media platforms. And I think people who are just seeing, an ad to sell their house on Facebook, they're not closer to the selling process. So they might still submit the form. At least we noticed they were not at all motivated for us. I mean, we had like a couple of leads that were motivated, but it was like very, very tough. Like, Need to Sell My House Fast, and especially with our PPC ads, we noticed those are really, really high quality leads. So our priority, like we have them, as soon as the lead comes in, we have them set up on an automated drip campaign. So as soon as we get a lead, within 60 seconds, they're getting an email from us. Then, a couple of minutes later, they get a text message, and then my lead manager would call them if you haven't either received an email or a text reply from the seller. So
are you doing that in FreedomSoft, or who are you doing that with? MailChimp, FreedomSoft?
No, we do it from within REsimpli.
From who? Recently?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them. So have you tried iSpeed to lead? iSpeed to lead.
We have.
And how did that go?
Not too good. We spent about a couple of $1,000s. I think the way it works with iSpeed to lead is, this was about 6 months ago. The way it works with them is you're essentially bidding on the leads, and then you can go back and bid on some older leads also. So we did that. It was a little bit pricey, but we thought, if the quality of leads are good, then that's great. But again, we didn't get anything, so we decided to just cut back on that.
Are you starting to get those coupons where you can get like 3 leads for $25 each, or that whole thing? Have you seen that yet? Did iSpeed to lead start sending you the coupons? If you sign up to iSpeed to lead, you could get a bunch of coupons coming into your email, and you could buy leads for, like the other day, I bought 4 leads for $5 each, pay-per-click leads. So if you buy enough of them, you're going to get a good lead. Maybe they're half as good, but if they cost $25 instead of $300, it's worth it.
Yeah, then that's not bad. If we can convert, I don't know, just 50 out of 51 lead, then it's still worth it. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out. We definitely use them. We've used HomeLight. We've closed on a deal from HomeLight. It's a pretty straightforward process. You don't pay anything upfront. You just pay them 4% of your closing of your purchase price. So it's pretty straightforward. We've used a couple of other. Compass Data is another one that we use. We didn't get anything, so we're shutting down on that. Just the quality of leads hasn't been very good. They consistently send us leads, but just the quality of leads hasn't been very good.
What is HomeLight?
HomeLight, HomeLight. It's another, motivated seller lead provider.
And they want 4% of whatever you make?
No, of whatever you buy the house for. So if you buy it for 100,000, sell it for 200, you just pay 4% off the 100,000 after you close on the property. So they don't charge you anything upfront.
And where do they get the leads from? Pay-per-click or from SEO?
I'm guessing pay-per-click and SEO. They rank pretty high on SEO side also. And I'm guessing the same thing with need to sell my house fast and fast home offers. So they rank pretty high on, organic search. So, you're paying them to need to sell my house fast and fast home offers. You're paying them, $200-300 depending on your market or more. Whether they get the lead from SEO or from their own PPC, that doesn't matter, but you're paying them whatever their cost is. So they're making money on getting the lead from SEO or PPC.
If you want to write my number down, I have some other things for you that I could tell you directly.
If you want to shoot me
there's some things that I don't want to say in public because everybody's going to do it. I'll tell you, and you give me a couple tricks. And one-on-one 917.
If that's the case, then if you don't want anybody to know, then I would rather you not share with me also, because whatever I'm doing in my business, I'm just going to go ahead and share with everyone. So if you don't want to be
a mastermind,
right?
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But guys, I'm gonna get into the call. Anybody else has any questions on kind of what I'm doing with my lead gen on PPC? Need to sell my house fast? Any question that I can answer?
What was the other lead source that he said outside of HomeLight? It was another one he didn't get a chance to say.
There's Compass Data. I don't have their website. This is something my lead manager. Let me see if I can find their website. I think it's called Compass. Yeah, I found the website. We haven't closed on anything with them, but they're not super expensive. I have put their website in the chat. So go ahead and that's who we use. They're not very expensive, but HomeLight is a good one. Again, you don't have to pay anything. So it's free lead. You only pay if you close on the property. So you only close on the property where you're going to make money, and you budget in 4% of the purchase price. So that's been really good. I need to sell my house fast has been really good. And a PPC are on our own, doing on our own, where we get those leads has been the best of them. So Luz, did you have any specific question about direct mail?
I just wanted to know what is like your return rate with direct mail and if you're doing any right now.
No, we are going to be starting. I'm actually going to be working with Brian Dorsey at Ballpoint Marketing to get have a really specific stacked list that we're going to send those their handwritten letters. I've heard from other investors those perform really, really well. So that's what we're going to try for a stacked list. I'll tell you what I've heard consistently that works the best is like vacant absentee, is that those tend to have the highest motivation. Just generally, there's every time there's going to be, depending on the market, there's going to be some list at any given time that's going to perform better compared to other lists. But everything else being equal, absentee vacant lists generally tend to perform really, really well across, on a long term. Yeah, that's what we've noticed. Again, when you just think about it, between a homeowner versus an absentee wanting to sell their property, just naturally the absentee, person is going to have a little bit more motivation. And then if you layer in the fact that the property is vacant, then that increases the motivation factor also. So I would start with that and then just stack more motivation on top of it. So if you have absentee, vacant property, and pre-foreclosure, so you can imagine somebody, is not living in the property, has a vacant property, and going through foreclosure, they would definitely have much high priority to sell their property. And then if you add, I would reach out to code enforcement, for example, if you can get the list of code enforcement properties, and then if you can get evictions, if you can get water shut off notice.
Yeah.
Hey, Jean, if you want to unmute yourself, yeah, definitely, please go ahead if you have more information on that.
Last question,
Yes.
Sharad. Sorry. What is the one? So just for me to understand, so your one marketing source that you're consistent with is PPC and pay-per-click ads. That's what you're
Correct.
consistent with, and then you just add on top.
Paper lead, you don't do any ads with. You're basically paying another company, need to sell my house fast, and Homelight you're not paying upfront, but Compass Data, for example, you're just paying. Need to sell my house fast and Compass Data. You're paying them. Let's say they'll tell you, hey, if you want a lead from us, we'll give you give us $300, for example, per lead. And then they have certain criteria. If the property is already listed on the market, then they'll give you credit back. Or if there's 8 to 10 criteria for which it's considered not a qualified lead. So, anytime you get a lead, you go through those and see if property is already listed on the market, then you can say, hey, it's listed on the market, then you get credit back for that. But essentially, need to sell my house fast is doing PPC nationwide. They get the lead, so they might be spending, let's say, $100 a lead in your market, and they'll sell you for $300 because it's just demand and supply. There's a bunch of other people in your market willing to pay for those leads. So if their cost is $100 and they're getting people willing to pay $200, $300, then that's what you will pay. So you'll say, okay, I'm going to pay $300 per lead. So if they're getting 100 leads, and then you'll say, all right, I'll pay $300 per lead, but I'm going to spend only $3,000. So basically you're saying, I only want 10 out of those 100 leads in my market. And there's going to be other people in your market that are going to be bidding on those leads. Gene, go ahead. You had something to say.
Yeah, I was just going to mention on the Ballpoint, I have a pretty small sample size so far, but I've done 2 drops and I'm getting right at a 2% callback rate is pretty much kind of where I'm at on it, just a little bit above that. And I definitely had some non-normal statistics there because we got a contract and another one that's in hot follow-up that we're just a little bit off on price on. So we are getting up to your point. We are getting a lot better response rate on those handwritten letters from Ballpoint. They're doing really well in my market.
Yeah. So when you think about it, 2% is definitely higher than what you would get with postcards or business letters or yellow letters. And then you're paying, a little bit less than I would say about 1.5, times what you would pay for yellow letters. So it actually ends up being cheaper per lead to do Ballpoint marketing. And then I've noticed, I've talked to other investors also. I think, Gene, to your point, you're going to get more leads, and they tend to be higher quality leads also, because it makes your direct mail piece stand out from anybody else in your market. Somebody that's sending postcard versus you send this nice envelope, with a handwritten note in it. So that's definitely going to help. So I'm excited about that. We're gonna test out with absentee vacant list in our market, and I'll share the results with you once we go live with that. But to answer your question, definitely inbound leads. Just by the nature of those leads, the inbound leads are going to be higher quality leads than where you are making the initial contact. So if somebody's making the initial contact to reach out to you, they're generally, everything else being equal, they'll be a little bit more motivated. So if you can get leads from PPC, paper lead, or like TV, radio, they will tend to be higher quality leads versus cold calling, SMS, direct mail. Those are going to be generally a little bit lower quality leads. And even on the outbound, I would say direct mail is going to be the highest quality outbound lead compared to cold calling and SMS. Again, when you just look at the economics of it, there's going to be a lot more people doing SMS. There's going to be a lot more people doing cold calling just because it's inexpensive to get started versus doing direct mail or other paper leads. So you're going to have more people trying SMS and cold calling. So it saturates the market. So your numbers are going to be a little bit tighter on that. So you're going to have to send a whole bunch more text message and cold calls to get a deal versus doing direct mail or inbound leads.
Sharad, this is actually a question that kind of stems with that. I'm just curious to know your overall outbound strategy aside from direct mail. I was really happy to see that REsimpli has a drip campaign feature, which is great. So I've set up a sequence of calls, direct mails, and an email. Just curious to know your strategy and your overall cadence when reaching out outbound.
Yeah, so outbound, we are going to be, so I mentioned on this call and on our Facebook group also, so we are rolling out our dialer next month. We're just finishing testing on it. So we are,
nice.
We are single line dialer. So we are going to start doing cold calling. So we're in the process of hiring a cold caller. We are going to start doing cold calling. We're going to start out with our, quote unquote stacked list. It's going to be built right into list stacking. So we're going to stack and we'll start out with our, again, absentee vacant. I probably will start out because it's cold calling. We'll just start out with our vacant list and absentee. So I have a little bit broader reach. So that's what we're doing. But if I were to say like one thing that's going to help you close more deals, regardless of which marketing you're doing, I would say it's the follow-up. Hands down, you could do PPC, you could do.
You said the follow-up?
Direct mail, cold. Yeah, I mean, if you're not
man.
following up with those leads,
for sure, yeah.
Then I would even start, if you don't have the follow-up process set up on what you want to do, like we have like 7 or 8 drip campaigns built out. Those are the ones that I use. And then, we customize based on some of the scenarios that we have. Like the one that we got under contract from PPC, it came in, the person wasn't interested. We just put them on a follow-up drip campaign. And when the person's ready, they called us and we got it under contract. So that's where you're going to make the biggest ROI on your money.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, how effective is email follow-up with these motivated sellers? Because I come from a B2B sales background in software sales and media licensing. And so I'm about to dip my feet into wholesaling. And I'm just curious, like how effective are like non-work emails for people, Email
would be effective. So this is what we do with our inbound leads. So when we're getting leads from the website, then we have the email address because that's one of the required fields, right? But if you're getting leads from cold calling, direct mail, or radio ads or TV ads where somebody's calling you, most of the time you are not going to have their email address. So that's what we noticed.
Assuming you do though, assuming you skip trace all of that.
You do.
Yeah.
With skip tracing, I'm not sure how accurate the email address is going to be, but if you have somebody provide you their email address when they filled out a form, definitely we do that. So this is what we do. Let's say if we get a lead from our website, right? Or we get a lead from a paper lead. So we always get their email address. So the way our cadence is set up for the follow-up, as soon as we get a lead, within a minute, they're getting an email from us. It just says, hey, thank you for submitting your information about the property for 123 Main Street. We'd love to make you an offer. Just send us a reply back, and then we put our phone number, right?
Okay.
And then we wait a couple of minutes, and this is all automated. So we wait a couple of minutes, we send them a text message, right? 99% of the times we're getting their cell phone number. So we start with an email. we send them a text message, we wait 5 minutes. So basically, we're giving them kind of 5-7 minutes to see if they respond back to your communication. If they respond back via email, then we understand that they feel more comfortable going back and forth via email. So we'll keep the communication via email, right? And then we'll also say, hey, I'm going to just send you a quick text if you prefer communicating via text message, right? So we're noticing more and more people feel comfortable, via text message. So when we say initial email, then text message, we wait 5 minutes just to see if they respond back. If not, then we call them. So basically, we've said, hey, we're reaching out to you via email, text, and call, and you choose however you want to communicate.
So you would start the cadence with an email, an outbound email.
I mean, that's what we do in our business.
Gotcha.
Email, some people might do text message and then email and then go to calls.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think there's any like science to it. The most important thing I would say is just get in front of them. It doesn't matter how.
For sure.
Just get in front of them, and then you can keep optimizing. Then you can do some A/B testing, right? You can start out with sending them an email, then text message, then call them, and see how that performs. And then maybe half of the leads, you put them on a different drip and start out with text, email, and call. And then you can have like a control group, where you notice in your market, again, it's going to vary, from market to market. Somebody, seller in, like, let's say San Diego, which is a higher end market, they might, have a different medium that they would feel comfortable with versus a lower end market where people might not even check their email, right? So it's gonna depend. So you have those variables also. We just give them an option of email because it's the least intrusive. They're filling out a form online. So you just send them an email, just reach out in front of them and wait for them to reply. Then you send them a text message saying, hey, we got your information via our website. If you want to give us a text or call us back, and then we call them back. We are going to be rolling out a feature in REsimpli. It's going to come out probably end of November. So what's going to happen is we're calling it like Instant Lead Connect, and you can enable or disable it for different campaigns. So what's going to happen is, let's say if you get a call, or if you get the best use case would be for website. So let's say if you get a new lead coming in from your website, so you can enable, you can say, as soon as you get a form, somebody submits a form to your website, we're going to initiate a call. So imagine you get a lead coming in from your website. What we're going to do is we're going to initiate a call immediately to your team.
Love that.
So if whoever picks up, let's say if you and I are on the team, like you're the owner and the acquisition man, so both of you will get a call. If I pick up, your call will get disconnected. As soon as I pick up, it's going to call the seller immediately. So the goal, within 60 seconds, you're connecting with the seller immediately.
That's great.
Because especially when you have PPC leads, it's pretty consistent. When somebody's going on PPC, you're not the only one where they're filling out a form. They're going on multiple different websites, filling out the same form. So the goal with this would be, as soon as somebody fills out a form, within 60 seconds, before they fill out another form, they get a call from you, and then you have that, make that initial contact with them. So yeah, that would be the goal. They see the number that's on your on the website that they filled out, and they get a call immediately from that number, and there's somebody on that call saying, hey, we just noticed that you filled out a form. So that's going to help with the conversion also.
Last question for you. How long is your average outbound prospecting cycle from first contact to the point where you just kind of give up and recycle them for another go? 30 days, 60 days? Yeah, on a drip.
Yeah, no, we go like, some drips we have set up for, I think, like 15 to 18 months.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Yeah, but we're not following up with them. So it depends, right? So
you taper off towards the end, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll start out, let's say we get a lead initially, right? So the way it works is we'll get lead initially from website. Those tend to be hot leads. So we're following up with them, a couple of times first day, then every day for first, 3 or 4 days. And then you taper off to weekly. Then you go every other week. Then you go every other month. We touch them every month for like a year to a year and a half. And then if you still don't get anything back, we'll just take them off our drip campaign at that point.
Awesome.
And then we'll put them in another marketing cycle.
That's great. This was really helpful. Yeah. I have to hop off early, but how often are you running these masterminds?
Every week.
Awesome, man.
Same time.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
I appreciate it. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I said every single of these calls are recorded.
And what, I know you're laid off now. What did you do for a living before that?
Sorry, no, question is piggybacking off of that. I'm having a hard time with my lead buckets, I guess is the word, as they go across the statuses. How long do you keep, I feel like you try to keep your active leads showing only, and you don't have like offer up leads piling up in there once they kind of fall off, you haven't heard from them, you put them on a drip campaign and move them to warm? Or do you always want to see, we have 30 offers out there that we never heard from again, for example?
No, we keep our active leads pipeline very, very clean. Basically, so think of your active pipeline as here. I'm going to share my screen. So again, my screen is going to look different. And you'll get to see some of the updates we have coming out very soon. I'm testing right now where you'll be able to change names of these columns and you can customize these. So a lot of cool things coming. But think of your active leads as leads that you feel like you can close in next, where the seller would want to close in next 30 to 60 days. I would really push it to 90 days, depending on your business. But for us, if we don't think the seller wants to sign a contract in next 30 days, we just take it off our active leads immediately. We move it to drip campaign. And then my lead manager, she literally just follows the dashboard on a day-to-day basis on, okay, how many calls do I have to make? So she's literally making sure this number is 0 for her every single day. So we have very, very few leads that we're keeping on our active leads, like maybe like 8 to 10 at any given time, like really very minimal leads. So right now, I literally have 10 leads on our active pipeline. And we have, we have a total 1,353 leads in warm leads that are on follow-up, but only 10 active leads in our pipeline. So you can see right here. So these are dead lead, and then every single one of these is on some sort of a drip or have a follow-up task set up. And we just have 10 leads that are in active leads, 2 under contract, and 1 we're getting contract for today. So we'll have 3 under contract, but if you get no contact made, 1 in appointments at 3 in offer made. I think that's what we notice. Like a lot of people, what they do is they'll have a bunch of leads in active pipeline, but the way I like to use it as active leads is the ones that I'm actively working. Of course, anything that you have an appointment set for, an offer made where you don't have the seller who's basically disappeared on you. Those are the only ones we'll keep. If you make an offer, we don't hear back from the person for like 2 to 3 days. We just immediately put that person on a drip campaign and take it off our active pipeline and just automate the follow. So there's no need for it to be on the active lead. I would like, if there's one thing I would say, and if you're not utilizing, you should, is the drip campaign feature. And then just have your team follow up those drip every single day.
Yep. That's great. Super helpful. Thank you. And if I can put a vote out there for future Zoom trainings, I would love to see how KPIs can be geared towards tracking your lead managers and their productivity and number of calls. And I know we've done KPIs for deals and profitability, but I'm trying to see, how good are we doing on answering leads? How many calls did you make a day? How many follow-up calls and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we can do that. Next week call, definitely. I mean, we want to make sure we do these calls based on, so we've like segmented our calls into like data, marketing, sales, and like operations part of it. I think operations is the one thing where we notice like a lot of people kind of struggle with on KPI tracking. So that's where we definitely want to add value. So we'll do a call next week on like how do you manage your lead manager. And I'll just share one. I don't know if you watch this training we did. I think it's been like 3 months. Here, I'm gonna put this lead manager. We did this training back in March. I'm gonna put it in the chat. If you haven't watched it, I would definitely watch this training. So it goes over kind of roles and responsibilities of lead manager. I put it in the chat. It goes in depth on like even like how much people typically pay for a lead manager that's based overseas versus somebody that's based locally, and what their primary responsibility is. Adam, did you have a question?
Yeah, Sharad, this is Adam. I got a couple of questions here, and the more you speak, the more questions I have. But the original one was, I'm an Android user. I bought the in-app answering feature that you offer. I cannot dial. I've been trying to talk to Nisi. I wouldn't take this time to express this concern in this platform, but I'm exhausted that Nisi, that route. Long story short, I can't dial out. I've dialed out successfully from iPhone. So are other people experiencing this issue, or is it like a local problem to me?
It's a local problem to you. I mean, we've noticed some issues with Android because like there's so many different operating system and different devices. If you shoot me over your email address in the chat, I'll have, or I'll reach out to Nancy and I'll figure out kind of what's going on. But yeah, it's not like an Android issue. It could be the specific Android device that you're using could have something to do. And then, for that, we have to kind of run some tests on our end. So if you provide us like the exact device that you're using and then the Android operating system that you have.
Yes, sir. We've definitely some tests on. We've definitely done that, but I will. Yeah, I'll look out for your incoming communication regarding that matter. Worst case scenario, we'll just get an iPhone. Another question real quick.
Yeah.
I heard you saying that you're doing PPC. Are you managing your own campaigns, or do you have a campaign manager that's working for you in addition to purchasing the PPC leads from third-party vendors?
No, this is who we use. Yeah, this is who we use in our business, wholesaling PPC.
And what are you saying? They create your landing pages, and they're your managers?
Yeah, I mean they just manage, like they'll do it with whichever website you want to do it with.
And then what are they charging you of spend?
We pay them $800 for the management service, and then on the actual ad spend, I think we spend about $2,000 to $2,500 a month on that.
And then,
but they charge us $800 a month.
Did you start first with managing in-house or outsourcing, and then picking up the third-party vendors, or did you do third-party vendors and then go to?
Yeah, I mean, I started out actually doing it on my own. I mean, I just had interest in that, so I read a couple of books on SEO, PPC, and I did that. But it just takes time on doing it. We are actually we've talked about this before also. We are actually rolling out our own websites within REsimpli. This is kind of what one of the templates is going to look like. And when we go live with our websites next month, we're actually going to be launching like a challenge/course on PPC. So if you want to do it on your own, we're going to launch like an education program where you can do everything step by step. So if you want to do it on your own, you can do every single thing that the agencies are doing on your own.
How many deals do you get off that $3,300 a month spend, and what's the value?
I would say we get at least one deal for every $5,000. I mean, like it's like this year has been a little bit of an odd year, given kind of where the market is right now with everything going on. But we have definitely noticed uptick in our PPC leads lately. So if I look at like our, so we've closed on 4 so far, and we have 3 under contract with PPC, I mean.
Not to bombard you with questions about the PPC and how much you're paying the camp managers, but you're saying $800 out of a $3,200 spend. So is that a percentage basis that they're charging you, or is it a flat fee of $800?
No, they have a flat fee. They don't do percent. There are other agencies that do percentage with them. They do a flat fee.
Is this the first agency you signed up with and you stuck with them because you liked how they performed?
I've used a couple of other agencies, but what I like about them is that they only work with real estate investors. Right?
I like the $800 fat fee. All right, thanks, Sharad. Yeah. I really appreciate it.
So you did 3 deals and 1 in how many months?
I've done 7. I mean, I've closed on 4 so far, and I have 3 under contract with PPC. So total 7 so far.
In 1 month, or how many months?
No.
How much spend?
This year. And I have spent, I can give you the exact number on what I've spent so far. I don't think I'm even spending like $2,500 per month on that. I spent total with PPC with this agency, $30,000 so far. Yeah, so about $3,000, including, so about $2,000, $2,200 on ad spend. Everything else is the actual campaign cost.
So I do PPC currently as well. I've seen a significant reduction in deal flow and them being warm and even hot. A year ago, I was seeing, they were my best deals. I was doing probably 2.5 a month from it. Now I'm teetering, I was probably getting like an 8x return Now I'm seeing, 1.3 ROI, which, every month teeters back and forth between black and red. I'm curious about if anyone else in the group is doing PPC, if they've seen it cool off, or if it's, maybe my agency, or if it's just becoming more competitive, what everyone else is seeing out there, including you, Sharad. Obviously, you're having some success with it. But my ad spend, it used to be like $120, $150 a click. I'm in a medium small market in Arkansas, but they've reduced it. Their strategy has become more of a, $20, $30 a click, but I'm not getting near the hot leads. So don't get me wrong, I love the reduction in click, price, but at the same time, I'd rather pay $150 a lead and get deals versus, 40 clicks.
Yeah,
$12.
I would ask them to send you a list of keywords that they're using for your marketing. So the thing is, like, I've talked to Wholesale and PPC, and I say, hey, can we, like, we're getting good leads, can we just spend more money? And they're already upfront. They said, look, we can spend more money, it's fine. We're going to charge you the same amount. But the challenge is you're going to start getting lower quality leads because, like there's like people when they're searching on PPC on Google, they're searching for specific keywords, right? They're using like sell my house fast. But if you start getting leads with, how to list my house on my own, for example, that's somebody, that's not necessarily interested in listing with the house, but you are getting those leads. Those are going to be lower priced leads, but they're not going to be good leads. So the first thing I would do is I would ask your PPC agency that you're using to send you a list of keywords that they're targeting for. And there's some technical stuff that goes into it. I mean, are those broad keywords or are those, exact match? So for example, if somebody searches sell my house fast, if you say exact match, then somebody has to put at least search my house fast Arkansas, for example, for your ad to show up. Versus if it's like broad, somebody says sell my house fast with an agent, then your ad will still show up. You will still get those leads, but then those are not really qualified leads for you guys.
Right. So we got to make them the negative keywords. But
yeah, like for us, like VMAX, Century 21, like all of these should be negative keywords. So if somebody sell my house fast with VMAX, you should not be getting those leads at all.
Right. Anybody else seeing a reduction in PPC, or are you still having good success with it?
Yeah, I'm curious, guys, anybody else that is running PPC and kind of noticing? It definitely was slow for us, I would say, for like 3 months of summer when like the interest rates were really going up. And putting the link of this website that I use, it's Wholesaling PPC is who I use, and they only work with the real estate investors. Like they don't even work with agents. So it's kind of neat that they just work with investors, and that's who I use. It's like $800 a month for them to run the campaigns.
Okay, cool.
I'll touch on that real quick. With what you were saying is I'm not seeing a downflow in PPC like leads per se. I also use some of those paper lead sources just like Sharad does. But what we are seeing for sure is the lead quality going down. And something I've actually seen from a lot of friends that I've talked to as well is we're unfortunately starting to get a lot of our spend burned up from other, well, I shouldn't use the word investor, but kind of like the people that are just trying to step in are just trying to wholesale and stuff. And we're getting a ton of that, like wholesalers and things of that sort burning up PPC spend. So still getting plenty of leads.
That's one thing I would say. Yeah, Gene, I would agree with that. That's one thing we've noticed in our market also. Lately, an uptick of leads coming in from other investors in last like 2-3 months, but then we're closing on one with an investor, that we're going to sell it as a turnkey properties. But definitely, we've seen an uptick on getting leads from investors.
Which, I mean, unfortunately, if you can pull one out of it, it can turn out okay. And with the paper lead source, like you said, with the paper leads, it works because you actually can get refunds from all the ones I've used. If you can show that it's a wholesaler or another investor, they'll refund you. Does kind of suck when it's your own PPC though.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's nothing you can do with that. Yeah, so we have definitely noticed that, but it's still it still hasn't like affected us in a big time, where if we can, so we spent total 30,000 so far this year on just our own PPC, and we have 7 contracts from it. So it's still pretty good ROI for us. When it makes
How
sense.
much did the 7 contracts bring in net, not counting the PPC cost?
Some of them we haven't closed them, but I would say our average profit is somewhere between 25 and 30,000. I would say 25, 30 minimum, yeah, a profit. So yeah, I mean, our ROI from PPC so far for us has never been a problem. The problem is just getting more leads from PPC has been the challenge for us. And part of that is just being in a smaller market. There's going to be constraint on how many leads you can get. That's where we're upping our budget on need to sell my house fast, and we're also going to start doing a direct mail campaign, those higher quality letters with ballpoint marketing to a targeted list.
One more quick question. How are you allocating your spend between your personal camps and then the third-party vendors? What's receiving more of your input? What are you spending more money towards?
Need to sell my house fast.
Gotcha. Can you give me a ratio?
Right. We're spending, now we upped our budget, need to sell my house fast to 5,000 per month. And on our own PPC, we're spending between management fee and actual ad spend about 3,000 a month. A little over 3,000, it's at 3,200. Yeah, it's about 2,500 on actual management. I mean, on actual ad spend, and about 800 on management fee.
So just based on this, is it fair for me to say that the third-party vendors are yielding a better result for you?
No, not necessarily. Not that they're yielding better results, but just we can get more leads from them. Gotcha. I would rather get more leads from our own PPC, but just again, being in the market that we are in, if, based on the conversation that I've had with wholesaling PPC, if we increased our own budget, let's say if I said, hey, let's just double our budget, our lead quality will instantly go down.
Okay, thanks for bringing my mind to where you're at with that. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Awesome. Guys, we didn't get into kind of what I wanted to get into, like tracking KPIs and stuff, but this has been a great call. Any other questions I can answer for you guys? Let me see. Gary and Gene, if you guys want to connect and just kind of see kind of what's working with PPC and not. Gary, I would also reach out to Wholesaling PPC, Tim at Wholesaling PPC, just to see if there's something like they can look over. But before you do that, I would ask the PPC agency that you're using to send you the actual keywords that they're using.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I've got a meeting with them later today, so I'll run that by them, because I did find it interesting. I'm all about the strategy. I know things are constantly changing, but it's interesting that it was at 120 to 130, and I'm getting 3 or 4 clicks a day to I'm getting 15 clicks at $12, $30.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like definitely something has changed with your keywords there. Like they just
the interesting part is that they definitely know what they're doing. They're not some amateurs, because I've had them almost 2 years, right? So they're certainly capable. Right. They had it dialed in 2 years ago. It's just not dialed in at the moment. So it's expensive to ride the wave till they get it dialed in. So just trying to figure out if I need to bail and come back 3-4 months later, or if I just need to use that money for different.
Yeah, I mean, before I would definitely look into the keywords to see. You can ask them for a report on which keywords are actually getting you the most leads. So you want to get into that, and then I would start taking any keywords out that this is not a motivated seller.
Okay.
So before you make, again, I mean, it just goes into like tracking your KPIs. So this is the PPC side. You can ask them, hey, can you give me a list of all the keywords for last 90 days where I've gotten the leads from?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for that.
So John had a question on, so the gross is, so John, this is my actual P&L. So you can see our gross profit so far is we have about 5 in our inventory. So you can see, I mean, some of these costs are from properties that we sold last year. We had to write a check back for something. So most of our properties, the profit is more than 25,000. 25 is being conservative. I would say about 30 would be the average. This one I talked about couple of months ago. We lost money on it, so I'm happy to sell this. But this is kind of what our P&L looks like right now, 600,000 in gross profit. And we have 5 properties in our inventory that we'll be selling. And then we have 3 under contract. So this is kind of what it looks like. So let's say from those 7 PPC deals, we would minimum, I mean, if I take out the money we're going to pay my project manager for managing the projects, I would say I will net about like 150,000 roughly on those. But there's some other like costs. So I'm just talking like if you related all the costs related to just the property only. So you have marketing costs, which is like PPC, and then when we sell a property, there's going to be costs that we pay our project manager to manage the project, which is 10% of the profit. And then there's going to be like interest costs and other holding costs. But yeah, it's about like 150 would be like a fair number of what we would gross from these 7 properties. Cool. All right. Yeah, guys, any other question? Let me see if there's anything else that I missed in the chat. This was a great call.
Thank you for collaborating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, more than happy to help with anything I can.
One question on that. Are you focusing on a certain territory, or is that a national platform? What's your strategy? I might have missed it. I came in late, so I apologize.
For PPC? Sorry, are you asking about PPC for us?
Well, if you said only 7 of the deals is PPC, I would imagine the balance of them, are you focusing on one territory, or are you just taking them across?
Oh, no, I'm just saying like 7 deals we got were from PPC. The other ones have been from other marketing channels, but this year majority of them have been from inbound leads. PPC, need to sell my house fast. Those have been our primary market. We've gotten like a couple of deals from direct mail, even though we haven't done direct mail in a while. And we got one from cold calling, but PPC definitely has been the best performing marketing channel, PPC and pay per lead.
But as far as territory, like, are you focused on one state, one county?
Oh yeah, just one county, okay. Lake County, Indiana, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're in a very small market. And even in that market, with the market changing right now, we're kind of cutting back on like one city that was performing okay until like 3-4 months ago, but with the interest rate changing, we're kind of going into the market, the cities that we feel super, super comfortable with. But the challenge with pay per lead is you have to do it based on the entire county. You cannot do based on just specific cities. If we could, that would be awesome. But we could say, hey, we want to do this county, but leave out this city for us. Unfortunately, they don't allow that. So we have to take the entire county. And most of the leads that we get in our county are from this one city that we're trying to cut back on. So we're going to see kind of, what the numbers are going to look like over the next couple of months and then make a decision based on that. But yeah, if I had to say like one marketing channel that we're like very, very focused on is PPC, our own PPC. Yeah. Sorry, Elijah. Yeah, that's the company roofstock.com. Yeah, they've been really good for us in terms of selling property. And it helps to kind of give you some idea about comps. Also, you can go in your market and look at like properties, if you want to buy just to kind of get a sense of what other properties in your market are selling for. So you can do location. Okay, yeah. So I can do, for example, I can go in my market, Indiana, and let me see if there's anything else. Yeah. So let's say if I go right here, yeah. So this is like a property in our neighborhood. It's just one side of it. So it tells me this one is on the market for about 125,000. So it kind of gives a little bit of a sense of what other properties in our market are selling for, what other investors buying turnkey properties are paying for these properties. So it's been a good resource for us if we're not sure about a property where the seller is a little bit motivated, but we're not 100% sure. We'll actually send it to our rep at Groupstock and just trying to get a sense of based on the neighborhood. We'll give them the address. We'll say, let's say this house is going to rent for $1,200. They'll give us a ballpark of what they think they could sell it on their platform to other investors. So which is really good for us to just kind of get a sense of if this property we don't want to sell on MLS, if we sell it directly on Groupstock to the investor, like what is some price, some rough ballpark price we can get for these. But again, with the interest rate the way it is right now, over 7%, and there might be another hikes in next, couple of months. Who knows, how that's going to affect. At the end of the day, it all goes into kind of the cap rate that the other investors are getting.
You have to be the owner of record in order to advertise on Roofstock, though, correct? You can't assign a contract or advertise contracts?
No, you can't. No, you can't. I mean, I've never asked that. Every property we list on there, we're the owner on the property. But I don't think I did hear from some of the investors that you can actually put property on Roofstock at the same time you have it on MLS. I'm not sure how that would work if you're putting property on Roofstock and you have it on MLS with Remax, for example. I'm not sure how that would work, but when we're listing it, we're either listing it on MLS or Roofstock.
Gotcha.
I don't think they would allow for assignment, but I would reach out to them, just kind of say, hey, I have some properties that I would be interested in seeing on your platform, and just kind of get a sense of what other properties are selling for. Yeah, this one, for example, the one of the properties that we have under contract for 70,000 is in this neighborhood, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, pretty similar to this house. So we were buying it for 70,200. Needs about 30,000. So it gives a little bit of sense of kind of what other properties are listing for on Roofstock. I don't know if it's going to sell for that price or not, but at least you kind of get a little bit of sense of what properties other investors are listing. Or you can always call them, connect with them, and just give them property address. They'll give you a little bit of idea of what some other properties would sell for, what they could list on their platform for. So it goes based on the neighborhood, cap rate, and there's like a couple of other variables that go into this. But this is for the entire state of Indiana. These are all the properties that are on the market on their platform right now. Awesome, guys. This has been any other questions I can answer for you guys?
Actually, Sharad, I do have a question, but it's not related to what was discussed. I'm not sure if this was tackled last week, but it's about the in-app answering. Is there a way to track the inbound calls, the call duration, the total call duration, stuff like that?
Yeah, that should all be in your call logs. So if I go right here, so if I go right here, if I go to call logs, so you can filter right here by incoming call, and then you can just filter and see all the incoming calls that you had and all the calls that you had coming into your system.
Okay, and or would you know if you're going to be adding that to the leaderboard or some type of KPI?
For the in-app answering, I mean, for the incoming call?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. We would only be able to do that for in-app answering, because if you put a phone number in a call flow, we don't know whose phone number it is. So it makes it a little bit tricky. But yeah, for the in-app, yeah, we could definitely add that for in-app answering, because we know who's actually answering the call and how long they're on the call for.
Yeah, that would be great. One more question though. Is there a place to put when a call comes in, it automatically gets generated as a lead, right?
Right.
So what we're doing right now is we're actually using a different platform for our SMS campaigns, and anyone who calls the numbers on that SMS platform goes to REsimpli. But we're having trouble with the reporting side, because even the prospects get tagged as leads, and we want to be able to separate the leads from the prospects just for the reporting side of it. Is there any way to do that on REsimpli?
Yeah, what I would do in that case is, like if you look right here in the marketing section, like if those are not qualified leads, then I would just, I would not mark them as qualified. So this is another KPI I would look at, how many of the total leads were actually qualified. And you can do that based on each campaign that you have. So, for SMS or cold calling, you're going to have high number of leads, but low number of qualified leads ratio. So I would look at that, let's say you're getting 21 people calling in, but none of those are qualified leads. So that kind of gives you a little bit of sense of, hey, we're getting a whole bunch of people calling, but they're not as qualified. And then you can filter it based on different time periods also.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And then guys, just really quick, kind of just a preview of what's coming as far as updates. So you can see, my leads pipeline looks a lot different from the standard pipeline. So we're adding, of course, you're going to see a new stage of new leads. So anytime a new lead comes in, it's going to automatically go into new leads. And then we'll be able to track time for you. How long does it take from the time new lead is created to the first touch? So some really cool KPIs coming with that. And then you can go ahead and like collapse a column if you're not using it in your business. And you can change the name of it if you want, change the color. So some customizations with that. And also the websites, I have it in my account. I'm testing it right now. So website should also be coming pretty soon to everybody's account. One website is going to be included in every single account. You don't have to pay anything. And then as you can see, I have dialer in my account also that I've been testing. And this is what the dialer dashboard is going to look like. It's pretty easy to call. You create a campaign, you basically, it's going to list stacking, filter your list with whatever you want to do, select these, and then select, if you want to, however many properties you want to push, you're going to see an option of send to dialer. You do that, you choose, do you want to push it to existing campaign, create a new campaign? Who do you want to assign it to, scrub DNC, or remove anybody that's already on a campaign? Once you do that, it's going to take you to dialer. And then you go into whichever campaign that you have. It's going to segregate the campaign based on whether you have non-touch. So I haven't made any contact attempt calling this. And these are the ones that I've made one attempt. I can just load these up. I can see all the information. Then you have activity log of everything that you've done. And if you want to start calling, you just click call. It loads up, like you set up your cold calling, what script you want to use, what voicemail you want to drop, which phone numbers you want to call from. And then you do that and then just immediately start calling these people. And then it's a very quick single line dialer. So if you call someone, they don't answer like within a couple of seconds, it's going to start calling here. So if I hang up this call right here, it went into voicemail, I hang up. Let's say I do left voicemail, you can send an SMS. If I click call next contact, within a couple of seconds, it's already calling the next person that I have on my list. So and then if somebody's interested, you can just go and move them to lead directly from REsimpli. And then if anybody calls you back in one of your cold calling number, it's going to show up in inbox. And then this shows you all the scheduled calls that you have. And this right here shows you all the call logs of outbound calls that you made in the system. And you can filter that based on call duration, result, assignee, campaign, and time period. So we're just finishing up testing of this. And of course, the website, we're also testing. This is kind of what one of the two designs is going to look like. And we should be going live with both of them very soon.
Sharad, I have a quick question there. What if a prospect has multiple phone numbers on the dialer? Like they'll call the first number, then the second number.
Yeah.
And so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I go right here, if I go back and call this, so I went through it really quick. So if I set this up, let's say if I call this number, it's going to ring right here. I hang up. So I can choose left voicemail, then I can choose call next number instead of call next contact. So you can redial, call next number, call next contact, or you can stop dialing.
Nice. And then another question. I know with the Zapier integration, all my leads go into the no contact made buckets. Am I going to have to do anything in Zapier when the new?
We'll let you know. I mean, they're going to all start going into new leads only. So anytime a new lead, it will only go into new lead bucket now, because based on that, we can provide some KPIs on how long does it take from the time new lead is created to the time you actually get in touch with the seller. So we can do that based, and you'll still have open leads, but you'll also have new leads, KPIs also in addition to open leads.
Yeah, I was just not aware, like if we have to go in the Zapier and like address something there, I'm not,
No, you shouldn't have to do that. I'll double check with my developer on that, but you shouldn't have to do that. It should work just kind of how it's been working. Everything will go into new leads only.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys, that I can answer for you? We'll do the call about like API tracking. We'll go into a little bit more in depth with that on next week call. But anything I can answer for you guys that you have in the cold calling tool. So Noreen has is there any update on when the cold calling tool will be available in REsimpli? Noreen, it should be coming out. I was in mid-November, definitely. We're just finishing up testing. I mean, I was testing it this morning and I have my team testing it, just couple of things that we're updating, and then we should be going live pretty soon. I mean, as you can see, it works pretty well in my testing account. There's just some minor changes we're making and should be going live pretty soon with that. And one other update that we're going to go live with this week, I just got an update from my team that they're done testing, is in call flow. There's going to be additional option of, if I go into repeat caller, so there's going to be this additional option, repeat caller based on property status. So you can have, based on what status the property is in, you can have that call be routed to a different person on your team. So if something is under contract, you can have it go to your, let's say, owner, versus something that's no contact made. You might want to have it go to lead manager. I don't have lead manager, so you can do a lot more custom call routing with this update. It should be going live this week. The testing is done, so hopefully tomorrow or Thursday should be live. It's only going to be included in enterprise account. So if you're on that plan, it is going to be included in your account and you can start using it. All right, guys. Any other questions I can help you guys with? Awesome. This was a great call, guys. Let me just check really quick on our Facebook group to see if there's any questions. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. This has been a great call. I'll see you guys next week. Sorry, the one that we're going to do this week about KPI tracking we'll do next week. Just kind of got more organically into marketing, which is totally cool. I think that's kind of what everybody has in their mind. Hey, Bruce. He jumped off. All right. Cool. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Oh, and by the way,
thank you,
if
Sharad.
you guys live in Michigan, I'm going to be in Michigan, not this weekend, the following weekend in Farmington Hills area. I think it's close to Detroit. If any of you guys live in Michigan, I'd love to hang out with you. Just grab coffee or something. I'm going to be there next week, Friday through Sunday, hanging out with my family. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.